We have Sai Srinath with us today. Let me introduce a bit about him. So, he has done his graduation from University College of Engineering, Usmania University. He has done his mechanical engineering from there, and then he has done his MBA from IIM Mumbai from 2016 to 2018. And after that, he has worked in Amazon for more than 6 years now. He started with a product manager, and he's a senior product manager of tech in Amazon Robotics. And to the participants, I would like to say this will be a session focused on careers in product management, focusing on the e-commerce side. But feel free to put in any questions that you have. Q&A is open. In fact, we will try to keep it as interactive as possible. Please feel free to put in your questions and we would take up all your questions. So please feel free to start putting in questions.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Aisha. I think I really enjoy. I'm really happy to be back. I think I did one couple of years back when I was in India working for Amazon. But yeah, very excited. Want to understand if there are any questions from the participants. I know this is a very crucial phase for everyone who are majorly, going into that journey of CAT and MBA. So very happy to be here. Just want to give some background and thanks for introducing me. So as you said, like I've done my bachelor's from University of Engineering, but I'm a mechanical engineer. So I want to stress a little bit because there's a lot of confusion or a myth saying that for a product manager, you need to be a computer science background. You don't need to be because I'm the one of the examples. So I'm a mechanical engineer, so I don't know anything about coding even now. So that's the point I wanted to stress. That's one part. And then I worked for 3 years as a consultant. Again, I've chosen functional consulting as my option because when I joined Genpact from my college, they asked me, would you like to learn coding and be a technical consultant rather than a functional consultant? And I said, no, I don't know anything about coding and I was not interested at that time. But now I'm interested. But yeah, back then I was not interested in coding and I chose to be a functional consultant for 3 years. Then while I was working, I studied for CAT and I almost wrote for 3 times. And then I cracked CAT. So I went on to NITI, which is now IIM Mumbai. So that's an happy part because I left IIM Koikod for NITI because a lot of time back then they said, hey, you're leaving the IIM brand, but I know what I wanted. And there was a lot of clarity, thankfully, to all my guidance who gave the guidance to me in choosing that college. So now it has become IIM Mumbai. So I'm happy now because of the IIM brand. But NITI also has a brand. So I chose NITI. And from then I got an internship opportunity in Amazon. My journey is like, I thought something I'll do, but I have not done that much. Example is like, I wanted to do supply chain management because I was a supply chain consultant. But when I got into NITI, I liked, more than I liked, marketing. I liked, product management than supply chain. So it turned out to be that. And my journey also was like, I didn't want to get into Amazon because I think you will fill dream companies during your summer placements. And Amazon was not in my top 3, I think. Yeah. It was in top 5, but it was not in top 3. It was Unilever, it was P&G's, it was Deloitte for me, because it was more, sought by any candidate on the college. And Amazon was not in top 3. But fortunately, I've got into Amazon. I'm continuing my journey as Amazon. So I worked as an intern and then converted into a PPO. And then I worked for 3 years in India. And then I got a project in US. I'm currently in Amazon US department, working as a senior product manager technical, majorly working in robotics space. I've worked in multiple teams across Amazon. That's a beauty for Amazon where you can work in multiple areas. So I've got an opportunity to work on different kind of projects, witnessing the first class e-commerce journey, especially in India, and then the more mature marketplace in US. So I'm based out of Austin, Texas now, working for Amazon. Yeah, that's my journey. I'm happy to take any questions and dive deep more on, if you have any questions on whatever aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Srinath, for detailing your journey. And to the participants, I'd like to say, please feel free to put in your questions. We'd like to keep the session interactive. And please do not worry, it can be about anything. from MBA journey, from house product management, or even about other fields at MBA, or about internships or journey before that, how to prepare for the exam. Whatever questions you have, please feel free to put in. And Srinath has given us time. So thanks a lot for that. So feel free to utilize this and put in whatever questions you have. So yeah, we do have a open question. So yeah, what is your day-to-day work look like as a senior product manager?
I think I'll try to answer how e-commerce product manager journey looks like, and probably to answer a lot of questions. And one of the questions we got now, e-commerce product management is similar to any product management role in any company. But I think the role of an e-commerce product manager is not that clear. It has its own unique nature or responsibility, because I'll let me give you an example where, if a traditional product management, you will have a product which is more tangible, and you will have a customer whom like who the customer is. You'll do a face-to-face interaction with that customer in a traditional product management company or a product management need business, right? But whereas in e-commerce, it's not just about a product. Firstly, I think product, for example, you're using a Zoom, right, for this meeting. A Zoom is a product, though you cannot feel Zoom, but you can actually use them, right? It's not tangible, but it's a service or it's a software which you use. So majority of the e-commerce products are softwares, those intangible things. For example, if a company is an e-commerce company, let's say it's a book company, right? So a product manager is an e-commerce company for a book. Amazon started its journey as a book company, so they started selling books first rather than anything else. So when Amazon started selling books, the product manager is not just about which books to give on the store, right? It's also about how the shopping experience of a customer is. So that's the product management about. Like, it's not just about books, it's also about how you do that customer experience. How do you make that customer journey feel in this entire process of buying a book from your store or from your website is about that product management. So that end-to-end journey of a customer is a product manager. So you need to understand a customer a lot. And in this case, especially in e-commerce, while I was saying, you really don't know who the customer is. Like, you don't even know, like you might know that person or some demographics of that person, where that person is buying from, and some kind of that demographics, but you really don't know who the customer is and what that customer wants. You can only make out if you have enough data from your buying patterns. So all you have is patterns. All you have is, like, demographics from which you need to actually carve out a customer journey and understand the customer. And with e-commerce, it's very, very difficult to understand that, because there's a lot of evolving changes, customer journey. So today a customer behaves in a certain way, tomorrow they don't behave. And you have seen that in the last 10 years, how the customer journey has, drastically changed. Earlier, nobody used to buy from online, right? Now, a lot of the customer orders, even in India, are coming from tier 2 and tier 3 cities, which is like a very big customer shift on how they want to buy and sell a product on. And it's not about also a customer. For example, it's not about only the B2C customers. So it's also about like B2C2C, like customer to customer. Like, you might have sold a lot of things on Facebook Marketplace. You might have bought a lot of things on such services, such platforms. There's a lot of companies which has become social commerce. So all this evolution has become very important, that you should understand a customer well. So product manager journey starts from understanding a user journey or a customer, and then finding out what exactly the customer wants. And then basically you'll not just find what they want, you'll also try to solve that pain point. So product manager journey starts from identifying a pain point or identifying an idea, and then it goes to doing a lot of market research and understanding like what exactly the customer needs, because you really don't know the customer here, and you really don't know who the future customer is here. So you just have a patterns from the history. Based on that, you need to do a lot of market analysis and segmentation in terms of what exactly your customer wants. And then it basically comes into defining that product, or defining that solution, what exactly you want to solve for a product as a product manager for a customer or a consumer. And then once you define that, you will also do a kind of prioritization. I think prioritization is very key for any product manager, because you should exactly know, like, you might have 100 things to solve for a particular problem, but you should also know, like, what is that first thing I want to go and solve, because that is very crucial. And a lot of times it becomes a challenge for a product manager to pick up what solution to do it. And then it goes about development, and that's where you basically interact with lot of software development, and you need to have some kind of technical, not coding language for sure. As I said, I don't know coding, but I understand that web technologies, software development cycle, because that helps you to talk to a software engineer. When you talk to them, when you talk to the software development team who develops the product for you, you should be able to understand at least the basics of that. So you have the technical aspect, and then you should understand how to market that product. So adoption is also a key. You're launching a solution, but a lot of times it becomes a failure if customer doesn't adopt it. So adoption is a key, getting that feedback and doing some changes and reprioritizing everything. So if I'm in a phase where I'm in, I've launched a product, I will be in the phase of, interact, getting a lot of feedback from the customers on the product which we launched, and iterating that journey. So that's my deal looks like. It depends on which phase of my project or my product looks like, and then we basically we go through that phase. And I think I saw the next question from the same person, that what's the skill needed to be there. I've told the journey that for the market analysis, you need to understand the business acumen, you need to understand the customer well, so you need to understand the trends and analysis. You should have a lot of grip about the business or the segment you're in. For example, if I'm in robotics, I need to understand what are the various trends in robotics. I was in transportation earlier. I subscribed to a lot of these white papers where it gave me a trends of what exactly the new innovation coming in marketing technology, transportation technologies, how does it transportation journey is evolving, and what's the future looking like. So you should have a lot of business acumen, read a lot of books, articles online. It gives a lot of business acumen. So that's one of the major skill, that you should have a lot of business acumen. The second skill I talked about, like, you should analyze very well. So analytical skills is very important, and that comes when you do a lot of decisions based on data. Like, you should have a lot of data analysis skills, because data is like powerful when it comes to making decisions. Because especially, like, I really like data approach solutions, because nobody can challenge it. That's There's no bias when you go with data. Like, in a meeting, if you go with the data, like, nobody can tell you, oh, this is wrong, this is not what I think. So that thinking aspects will go about. There's a lot of unbiased opinions or analysis comes into picture when you go with data. So a lot of data analysis skills you need to require, business acumen, data analysis skills. And as I said, like, you should have some kind of technical knowledge, not exactly coding for sure, but you should have like some amount of, like, how the software development cycle looks like, what is web technologies, some SQL
Yeah.
for the data analysis. Yeah,
Yeah,
all
sure.
those things.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks a lot, Srinath. We do have other questions also before that, so we'll try to cover everybody's questions. So let's try to keep the answers crisp to cover everybody's questions. I want
Yep.
all questions to get covered. So let's start with the next question, Srinath. How did you decide which major to go for in MBA?
Yeah, so as I said, when I joined Niti over IIM Koikod, I wanted to do supply chain management, and that's what the major generally doesn't come in first year. You generally do a general MBA in first year, right? And it depends on which kind of subjects you take in second year, that decides your majors, right? So it's okay if you don't know. And I had one opinion in my mind, and I went to and took Niti, but when I went into the college, I took a lot of marketing subjects because that interested me a lot than supply chain management or operations management, right? So it's about the journey. You will definitely, if you have a crystal clarity that this is what I wanted. Some people have it because they have that background. They might be very comfortable with that background and go the same approach. Like, for example, somebody can be in a banking sector and they wanted to do, you know, they have a very clear clarity that I want to do something in finance, or somebody with a CA who can do as finance. But I've seen a lot of students like who have no background. For me, example, like I never thought I'll do sales, but my first year stint in Amazon was sales. So it's all about, you will decide on the go. When you go and do a lot of these case studies in college, you will have the first time experience in the college itself, like how what subjects really interest you, and you can make that journey.
How do you decide which job you should go for, whether it is product management or supply chain management? How do you get a clear understanding what you are really interested in?
Yeah, I think it's somewhat related to subjects itself, right? You will not definitely not have that clarity. And my first job, so I was in a leadership role. It was called MLDP back then, where we had a rotational program. So my first stint was sales. I never thought I would do sales, right? I never thought I would. Sales was my category, but for my first year was sales, and I really enjoyed it. But I had to rotate, and then I went into product management, and I like product management also. So I continued from there after my first year. So it's a journey. You will never know, and it's also about the opportunity. And sometimes you wanted to do something, but you might not find the exact opportunity in the company you're working for. So understand what you're doing, and I think in the early stages of your career, you should always have hands-on with all the job functionalities. I would prefer, because the more you understand, or you more you work on those particular jobs, it will you will decide what exactly you want. And this answer I will not give. If I'm giving it, don't take my advice, because it is you who will understand really what you want. And the best way to actually decide is try as many job families as possible. If you're unclear, if you have a crystal clarity, go and do it. If you don't have crystal clarity, I would suggest go and do jobs in whatever fields you like or job functionalities you like, and then decide, because once you have the hands-on experience, it's you who decides it.
Yeah, sure, Srinath. I think that was wonderful. I think the message is to explore and find out. We have
Yeah,
the next question, which is, how are product managers different from business analysts?
that's a good question, actually. So business analysts, I think, are the ones who actually do a lot of analysis on the business aspects of the data. And probably, for example, a role of a business analyst can be like, okay, if I want to understand where my major order is coming from, for example, it's coming from Delhi or Hyderabad or Bangalore or whatever. So business analyst actually pulls the data and tries to analyze or finds out a pattern in the data. Now, what a product manager does is the product manager basically uses the data, whatever the business analyst has provided, and tries to identify a problem to it. So if you understand, the business analyst actually gets the pattern, or any seasonalities, or any interesting data points from the data we have, and the product manager actually uses that data and goes on, solves that problem, or basically improves that data. I think the business analysts are often converted into product managers because that's a key skill to have. And I've seen a lot of people in Amazon who were business analysts back and now product managers. And because that becomes a very easy journey, because at one point, like, how to analyze the data and get the patterns and designs. Once you have that, and it's all about like finding that right skills to go and solve the problem. So that's the major difference.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Srinath. I hope that was helpful. So the next question is, how do you exactly make journey for a customer fruitful?
Interesting question. As I said, like, you should understand your customer, right? To make that journey fruitful, you should understand what the customer is like. Not one solve will fit for all the customers. Some customers like to pay within one click, right? And some customers don't want to do it because they feel that something might be overpaid, or they cannot trust the auto payments or something like that. So it is very crucial that you understand the customers. You should also understand that you cannot solve all the customer pain points with one solution. You should have a very specific problem, a specific solution to customized problems. I'll give you a classic example because I worked in Amazon India as well as Amazon US. You might be knowing that Amazon India returns, like whenever you return a product in Amazon India, the delivery associate comes to your house and picks the product from your house, right?
Yes.
It's a not same journey in US.
Okay.
In US, it's very different. if you want to return a product, you basically go and drop to nearest a UPS store or a Whole Food store, because they don't come to your house and pick up. And if you want them to pick up, they'll actually charge you. So
Okay.
it's the same company, it's the same platform. I mean, to say like same dynamics, but two different journeys, because India market customer is different from US market customer, right? So that's how you need to make those journeys fruitful. So understand your customer well, design solutions, customize to whatever extent possible you can do it. That can happen when you basically segment those customers. And global, there's a lot of globalization aspects, but that doesn't work in all those solutions. Like I told about this particular example of Amazon returns, you basically, Amazon has been really great in terms of creating those customized solutions in each country. We're in multiple countries now, so that's the key aspect.
Sure. Thanks, Srinath. I think that was a wonderful insight to share how localization works for different customers. The next question is, what motivated you? What kept you going while preparing for CAT?
Oh yeah, that was interesting. So I almost had a 3-year journey. So first year, I just prepared. I did not prepare to an extent because I was focusing on my job much. I think the motivation really comes from what exactly you want to achieve, like where exactly you want to go. That was very clear in my mind that I want to do my MBA for sure. And I got some new IIMs during my second year, but I did not join it because I really wanted, like, I at least wanted to do it from top 10 colleges. That charity I had, like, I always had a plan B also, but I was always, trying to go with plan A. And what motivated me is that idea of what I wanted to do. You should basically have that idea and have a positive culture in your mind that, I can achieve this, rather than, being worried about what happens. And don't worry about the result much. Like, continue a journey. Take this as a journey. Like, this is a very, my CAT experience is a very beautiful journey for me because it has taught me a lot of things and how to, and that is helping me throughout my journey even now. So take this as an experience. I'm sure at the end you will reach where you exactly wanted, because it happened with me that, I could not come to US due for my masters, but Amazon sent me to US. So it was all, those things will happen when you actually have that positive nature in your mind and what exactly you work towards what you want to achieve. Don't worry much about results. You should worry about results, but not much. Like, you don't, because that is uncontrollable. Focus on controllables. What is in your control for now? I think preparing for CAT, I think the mock texts are really helpful. I always even if today, even some people reach out to me, hey, which is the best institute, which one is to take. I felt during my days, IMS mock tests were like the closest to the CAT. And I remember, I think there was 14 or 15 mock tests. I think the 11th or 12th mock test was closer to CAT, actual test. And I actually got exact percentile, almost similar percentile what I got in the 12th mock test. So take mock tests as much as possible, whichever platform it is. Keep continuing the journey. Take it as a journey. That will motivate you.
Thanks, Srinath. That was really wonderful. You mentioned about keeping a positive frame of mind and giving as many mocks as possible, and the wonderful journey has even helped you till now. That was amazing. Let's move on to the next question. So, someone is asking, like, what is the specialty of product manager which kept you motivated since you have worked in this role for over 6 years? So, why did you choose to stick to it and compared to other roles like consulting finance?
Oh yeah, that's an interesting one. And a lot of times, I know, I don't know if you've heard this or not, like product managers are the CEOs of their own product. Like, you basically own that product. And I like ownership. And when you own that end-to-end journey of a product or of an experience, it gives a lot of motivation. I was actually developing a product for, a shipment experience in India for sellers in India. Like, so I was building one product called, inbound shipment workflow. There, I was reducing the number of steps the seller is taking to create a shipment, right? It was almost a 32 steps. And I've reduced it to 4 steps. So from 32 steps to 4 steps, it almost saved like 10, 15 minutes of time for each seller. And if you multiply that with, we have almost like 6 lakh sellers in India. So you understand the scale, right? So that that actually gives a lot of happiness and satisfaction when you reduce this pain point. So identification of the pain point is very important, and what you exactly want to solve, as I said in the earlier like time, where identify the problem, solve that problem, and get that feedback. So when you get that feedback and when you see there is a positive feedback, you get the satisfaction. And when you get a negative feedback, I also get a lot of motivation to do what next to solve that next problem. So that's how my journey has been. I continue to motivate a lot of people to come into product management because it's a beautiful, ownership game you are in. Think of like a movie. Like if you are a director, you have you should you should basically sell that story to a hero in this case, or a heroine in this case, as a customer.
But we'll try to cover. So the first part is, what were the subjects that you had taken in consideration while joining IIM Mumbai? Yeah, let's.
So I think the subjects were very clear that I was a supply chain consultant, and Niti was a kind of mecca of supply chain. So I was very clear that I wanted to do supply chain management. And then when I went to the college, marketing interested me more than supply chain. And I took a lot of marketing subjects in my second year. So it's all about your interest. I took my background as an interest. And when I went into college, I realized that it is not my interest and something else is my interest. So it's a journey, again, how you want to pursue it. But I think you should experience that journey and you should take that decisions. And that is very critical in your life, where and one of the biggest aspect of product management is about taking decisions and taking fast-paced decisions. So you should be in charge of your decisions, and when you are in charge of decisions, you will have to make decisions for you, not somebody else.
Yeah, I think that's well put across. So the next question is from the same person: is what are the other colleges that provide MBA in operations? I think you can find this information online, right? Srinath, if you want to cover, let me know. Otherwise, we can move to the next.
Yeah, I think during that, I think IIT Bombay had an MBA. It's just there was a lot of operations colleges, and I think Symbiosis, Nasik. There were a lot of operations colleges back then. I don't know really. I'm not that updated with the colleges now. There are new colleges coming every year, so not sure which one is what.
Okay. Again, the next question is, I think, generic. Like, what are the scores required for getting shortlisted in your college in IIM Mumbai? And if you have a detailed information on what is the shortlisting process and cutoff, so if you'd like to mention brief, otherwise we can move forward.
No, I think, as I said, it's changing dynamics. I know after Unity got converted into IIM, there's this engineering got removed as a mandatory thing. Back then, engineering was a mandatory thing. Okay. So the cutoffs will also go change. So I'm not equipped to answer that question, but yeah, I think your team should be the best to answer that.
Sure. Thanks. So let's move to the next. What books or novels should we read to enhance our knowledge about various departments of management? I think this is a very, very interesting question.
Yeah, I think I'm not a book reader, but I'm trying to read a lot of books. And that's a wrong question to a wrong person, probably. But I would recommend you to read books. One of the things I repent is I've not read a lot of books, and I see a very clear differentiation with the people who read books versus not. And I have specifically, when I find a person who is a storyteller, who has a lot of good communication skills, who has a lot of, some insights, I go and ask that person, do you read a books? And a lot of times I get answer yes. So read any book, cultivate that habit. I still today, it's very hard for me because I've not done that in my early stages of career. You should always cultivate that habit of reading a book, because that will change a lot of perspective on how you actually think. Your thinking ability will increase. Your way of putting things will increase, because that is what matters today, right? In the startup journey and in these startup companies, a lot of unicorns coming up. If you go and read their journeys, it's all about how they have put up those ideas. It seems a lot of time, like 8 out of 10 times they are solving a simple problem, but the way they solve is very differently, and that's the reason they have become unicorns. So cultivate that habit. Whichever book it is, all books are good books. You should go ahead and cultivate that habit.
Thanks, Srinath. I think the quote was really wonderful. Solving simple problems but doing it differently is what makes something unicorn. I think that was well put across. Yeah. Let's go to the next question. So the question is, how do you decide the domain when you haven't explored enough? How do you know your interest in initial time? If you'd like to take it, let me know.
I think it's the same way. Like, do for 1 year, you'll understand the journey, right? Even the product management, when I actually got into product management, I have not done the product management. I know the basics of it, but I've never done it. So find a good mentor, find a good, person who can guide you in terms of what you exactly need to do in that. Rather than what you exactly need to do, you should ask a lot of people what you should not do so that you should be become, successful in that role. Try to get that answers of what should not, because everybody will try to say you, hey, you should do this, you should do that, but not many people will say what you should not do.
So, what is
So
your
try to get
answer
an answer.
for product management? What are some things you should not do?
I think not understanding your customer is a very big failure in product management. You should understand the customer well. If you don't understand the customer well, you will not succeed in product management. If you're not selling your story well, you're not succeeding. So I think these and if you're not analyzing, if you're not putting your opinions or a story with the data backed, that will lead to some kind of failure at the sometimes you'll be successful, but many times you'll be a failure. So I think try to get answers of what you should not do in your role and see if it interests you by what you're doing. Try at least for a year. Any role, try at least for a year because you will actually complete that entire cycle of a season, right? Whenever you roll, and I generally switch. Amazon is a very beautiful company where you can actually switch a lot of roles and switch a lot of countries as well. So it gives a very good opportunity if you can prove yourself during the interview because you'll have an interview process within. So whenever I take up a new role, I try to at least stay for a year to understand the entire journey because you cannot really make out in 2 months or 3 months, right? So it is very important that you at least stay for a year.
Yeah. So the next question is quite interesting. Like, what are the opportunities now in ONDC and quick commerce that are coming up?
I think it's very great place to be in India, especially like because if you see the opportunity is huge, and because of the consumer base we have in India, a lot of these companies, especially the foreign companies, are also towards India because after China, even equal to China, we are the largest consumer base in terms of markets, right? So there are a lot of opportunities. As I said, the initial roles would start from a business analyst or an associate product manager. Try to be in any role. Try to understand the aspects. And there's a lot of dynamicity in Indian businesses, especially Indian markets, because there are a lot of companies, right? There's a lot of companies who can actually give you a lot of roles. So it's not like a product manager need to do a product management in the same other company, right? It's not like that. Like if my product manager can go and you do a consulting in another company, it's all about like how you prove your skills. So learn as much as skills as possible. Try to, as I said, try to get those journey of job functionalities every year in your starting career and then finalize. Go with the breadth. So go with a lot of breadth in the starting phase of your career, and then you basically converge into your depth. So when you basically start with the breadth, you can easily go into a depth rather than starting with a breadth and you going in. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. Yeah, what you mentioned is quite helpful. Let's go to the next question. So the next question is, how much experience is important before venturing into product management from a placement perspective?
I think experience definitely matters, but not having an experience is not a negative thing, right? So if you have an experience as business analyst or consulting will definitely help because you already have that acumen of understanding the business. But if you don't have that experience, don't worry about it. Do a lot of projects or case studies in the college. Try to build those skills which I spoke about in the starting of the call, and try to link those skills whenever you talk in an interview. It is very important that you basically link what you exactly know to the skills of the role. When you link that, I think that doesn't matter how much experience you have, because the only difference between the experienced persons and not an experienced person will be the amount of clarity when that person talks in an interview, right? And when you don't have that clarity, that's okay, but try to utilize your college as an opportunity and do a lot of case studies or skill development to that process.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Srinath. So the message is that if even if you don't have experience, don't worry. You can do case studies and
Yeah.
try to figure out how to communicate better and learn all these things and still do it.
Yeah.
So the follow up question with that is, from your previous experience, how much does it help in PM? And the person is currently an AI engineer at a top firm and he's looking to pursue product manager in future. So does that experience help? Does it matter? So that.
Yeah, as I said, like experience always helps. When you try to link your previous experience to that particular role, it will definitely help. Because currently I'm a manufacturing product manager for Amazon Robotics, where we actually manufacture the robots. I'm basically building that systems on how to manufacture those systems, those products, and reduce the pain point of a manufacturer on the shop floor, right? So my experience as supply chain consulting or projects worked in supply chain really helped me, because that will give you an idea of a business acumen. So your experience will always build that acumen of business, which I talked about as a skill that will really help you if you have a similar experience. Again, if you don't have, you can always gain that by reading a lot of journals, a lot of white papers or books. But having that relevant experience will definitely give you that boost, and that will also help you in taking that fast-paced decisions and have that clarity of taking that decisions, why you are taking that decisions.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Srinath. I think that was a good put out. It was a good question. Also, the way it was put now, it gives clarity. Let's go to the next question. Next question is also quite wonderful. It's how do you measure the success of a product when a product has become successful, and what are the key metrics to track that?
That's a wonderful question. I think every product manager should understand or define the success of a product well before the starting journey. Whenever you define a product, before even going into the development phase, you should actually define the success of the product. Like, what do you think this product is a successful product? It again, there is no definite metric. There's no one single metric which will actually define the success. It will depend on what exactly the pain point you're solving. So for me, if I am solving a payment experience, the success might be like how many number of payments are successful, right? So that can be one simple example I've talked about. So it's all about like the customer satisfaction, what we generally call as CSAT. So you should always get that feedback of customer satisfaction, like how well the customer is satisfied with using that product. So the generic metric is about the CSAT. If you have a high CSAT, that means the customer is actually liking your product much. So that is very crucial in your aspects, and that will actually define the maturity of the product. Like, hey, at one point where you don't have any problems to solve that product, you have to basically say that the product is mature and you actually solve and go and solve some other problems.
Sure. Thanks, Srinath, for mentioning about the metric. That was quite informational. So coming to the next question again from Kritika, it's a wonderful question. How do you see the future of product management evolving, especially in the context of emerging technologies like AI and machine learning?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, what do you say, a fear that AI and ML learning will actually replace product managers, but it's not. Like I'm using a lot of AI in my current projects, but those are like all complementary products you get. So technology is always a complementary to what people are doing, right? It will never replace people, in my opinion. I don't know, I can be wrong in future, but currently with this landscape, I see technology, especially the booming AI, is always acts as a complementary to your product management skills, and definitely you need to be well aware with that particular product or technology, right, to actually become a master skill in that, because you exactly need to use, even if I don't know if you really know about how AI is evolving. There is a lot of aspects of how you actually train that model, right? It's all about like how you train that particular you know model to behave as expected what you want. So that will never replace a human. You need a human ability to go and actually train that and say that what is right and what is wrong. So for that you need that skills to again, a product manager with an AI needs that. So in my opinion, the product managers and the evolving technologies will always be a complementary, will not be a substitute product.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And as mentioned by Srinath, learn about the technology. That would really help in this. It would be a complementary thing. So, yeah, the next question, Srinath, is how to enhance CVs, how to make better resumes.
That's a good question, actually. I tell a lot of people that your CV should be very crisp. First of all, try to make a one-page CV, more than one page. If you're going, I think generally people don't tend to read CVs much. I take a lot of interviews at Amazon. I only take like 15-20 minutes to go through the CV, because not more than that. And in that 10-15 minutes, whatever I'm taking, it's all about like the key highlights. So ensure you make a very crisp CV. try to focus on what enhancements you have done. Don't use general statements that I have used SQL, I have, wrote something else. So don't do that, but what is the impact you have created in that particular project? Use that and try to highlight the skills which you have used in that particular project. So very crisp, try to highlight the impact, try to give the impact in numbers like dollars or INR or time savings or manual hours. That will really help for any user or any interviewer to actually go through that resume.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Srinath. So the message is put in crisp points. Try to quantify it if possible.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question is: can you talk about a time when you had to make a tough decision as a manager, and how did you approach that?
Every day. Every day is a tough decision as a product manager because there are a lot of conflicting aspects you will get it. And prioritization, as I said, like you will have 10 different problems. You will feel like it's like a cat question, right? You will feel every cat verbal ability question. You will feel every question, every option is an answer for that particular passage, but you actually need to nail down to that particular exact answer. So it's all about like, and one of the best option I have done is eliminating. You basically eliminate those choices, and then you basically go into what exactly the choices. So you you should actually have a good prioritization framework. There are a lot of prioritization frameworks, and you start eliminating those ones which are actually absolutely not making any sense, and then you nail down to the exact one.
Okay, so prioritization, elimination. I think that helps.
Yeah,
Coming
and
to
the
the
data
next.
as well, and the
Yes.
data as well. Data is very key to make that choices.
Yes. Yes. Thanks. So the next question is: someone has done their software engineering. Will this experience be detriment to a role like a consultant or a product manager?
It can be both. Like as I said, a consulting and a product manager roles are kind of similar, but it depends on which industry you are in and which phase of that particular project. But a software engineer, as I said, like if you understand the skills which I spoke about, the business acumen, the technical skills, the data analysis, and then the communication skills. So anything which you're doing this, you'll acquire one kind of knowledge or you'll be master of that. But you also need other knowledges to actually go and do the practice. So anything you're doing will definitely be, detrimental to any consulting or product manager, but you also need that additional skills to do it. Like in software, if you are and I've seen a lot of software engineers go and do product management, and also the vice versa of product management went into software because those are like very synonymous kind of thing, because that's it's kind of subset. Like professional software management is a kind of subset in product management, and even the vice versa as well.
Yeah, thanks, Srinath. So the next question again is wonderful. Can you share a success story or case study where your product management strategies led to a successful product launch that you did?
Oh yeah, I have launched. So there was one product which I talked about, the inbound workflow journey, which I've reduced from 32 steps to 4 steps, and that product was on desktop, right? But in India during that time, I think in 2019-20, there were a lot of mobile users or mobile penetration was going on, and we didn't have product on mobile. So we already had an app, but there was no feature in that app. So I took that product to the mobile, and that became very successful, and a lot of users started using it. That was a very good journey. And again, understanding the customer, understanding the user was very critical here. When you basically understand that, that becomes very successful, irrespective of whatever journey you're going in.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Srinath. So the next question is: does doing professional certificates in data analytics or digital marketing be helpful for product management?
Definitely. It will definitely, like a lot of professional certificates will definitely help you if you don't have that relevant experience. I try to do a lot of these certificates online. There are a lot of content available or certificates available online. Try to do as much as possible, because I think somebody asked the question, what if you don't have experience, or I only have this experience. When you only have a particular experience, these certificates will help you to gain the other experience which are missing.
Sure, thanks. The next question is: what are the skills required to be a good supply chain or operations manager?
I think you should understand the end-to-end journey. Like anything you pick up, you should understand the end-to-end journey and understand the customers or users in that particular journey, and try to see which exactly thing is fitting to where. If you understand that, it becomes very successful in any subject you pick up. Try to understand the end-to-end journey and plug in exactly at what phases of the supply chain management or operations management or financials are basically solving a problem or solving or applied in industries today. That will really help you to understand how we can be successful.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Srinath. The next question is someone is asking how to get an internship in Amazon.
I think Amazon goes to colleges directly. If you college, I think they go to some top colleges. It depends on which college it is. So they don't take internships outside colleges. It's all about the colleges which you go in.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. So one more question was, can you tell a brief about other roles that manager, operations or supply chain manager could manage?
The operations manager is a very critical role, the inventory manager, anything to do with supply chain management, right from, the inbound logistics to manufacturing a product to the outbound logistics. It is very critical in the entire end-to-end supply chain management. There are a lot of rules which touch upon it. Operations manager will basically manage the operations. Supply chain planner will actually do the forecasting. Forecasting manager, there are some roles called as forecasting manager. There are a lot of roles. I think it's an ocean which where we can pursue a lot of these things.
Sure. So we'll be taking the last question. So the last question is, what are the differences between a project manager and a product manager?
That's a very good question, actually. Thanks, whoever asked it. So, product manager, I said like they are they are responsible to define the end-to-end journey of a particular product or a consumer, and the project manager are basically some they call as program managers. Also, they basically focus on that particular project. For example, if I'm launching a product, as I talked about the inbound workflow itself, right? The project manager will basically face which project should go where and when, and try to follow up with engineers on the you know they basically manage the project, or when we actually do the development of the project. So if you see, the development is one of the phase of the product manager. Project managers play a key role in development and managing the development, but whereas the product managers are basically responsible for the end-to-end user journey or end-to-end solution of that particular product.
Yeah, I think so. So that was a very wonderful session. I think we had a lot of questions, and thanks, Srinath, for taking out the time and answering questions very wonderfully. And I think it was very valuable and informative. So thanks a lot for doing this, and thank you to all the participants for keeping it very interactive, very lively. Until the end, we had questions coming up till the end. So thanks, and hope you found it helpful. So thanks a lot for everyone for taking out the time to join today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hope this was helpful, and all the best.
All the best, everyone. Thank you. Take care. Bye.